Sequoyah, the Cherokee Man Who Gave His People Writing, by James Rumford. California, 1958. Look at the tall trees, says my father. They're redwood trees. They've been alive for thousands of years. They are called the giant sequoia. Where did the name come from? It came from the name of a Cherokee Indian man who was alive when the United States was new. This sequoia must have been famous, we say. He must have fought bravely and led his people well. He must have been as tall and as strong as these trees. Yes, my father says, but not as you might think. This man called Sequoyah was crippled. He was born in eastern Tennessee in the 1960s, the son of a Cherokee woman and a white man he never knew. For much of his life, Sequoyah was nobody famous. He was a metal worker who could turn iron into chisels and drills and Georgia silver into forks and spoons. Sequoyah was not a chief, but he loved his people like one. He wanted them to stand as tall as any people on earth. He did not want them to disappear in the white man's world. He did not want their Cherokee voices to fade away. When he was 50, they say, he decided to capture the people's voices in writing. But Sequoyah, they tell us, knew no English and couldn't read, not even the letter A. But that didn't matter to Sequoyah. I will invent writing for our people, he said. Everyone laughed. Writing will make us strong. No one believed him. Sequoyah began drawing hundreds of symbols, one for each word. He scratched them on slats of wood and filled his cabin with shingles of writing. He's crazy, the people jeered. They feared his signs were evil. We should teach him a lesson, the neighbors hooted. They saw no use for writing. Let's burn down his cabin, they cried. We have to make him stop. So they burned his cabin down and turned his writing into smoke. But Sequoyah learned a different lesson. Sometimes disaster happens for a reason. Sometimes it says, follow a different path. Sequoyah, they say, gave up drawing a different symbol for each word. There were just too many marks and squiggles for anyone to remember. Instead, they tell us, he invented letters to spell out the sounds of the language. When he had enough letters, about 84 or so, he began writing. His neighbors stopped laughing when Sequoyah's 6-year-old daughter, Ioka, learned to read. The people stopped jeering when two warriors wrote to each other. This is how Sequoyah wrote Ioka's name. The people, they say, learned the Cherokee letters quickly. Mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters left notes around the house so that they could teach each other to read. People took trips so they could have the fun of writing letters and sending them back home. It was not long, they tell us, before everyone was reading and writing. The Cherokee Nation praised the writing Sequoyah invented, and in 1824 they gave Sequoyah a silver medal. This is how Sequoyah wrote his own name. A missionary named Worcester helped Sequoyah turn his beautiful loops and spirals into sturdy English-looking symbols that could be printed with lead type. With these new signs, the Cherokee Nation published newspapers and books and made sure that their words would never fade away. Even when soldiers forced the people from their lands and sent them west in the 1830s, the Cherokee held on to their books. Even when sickness half emptied their towns, they kept their writing. Even when English-speaking teachers ruled their classrooms long after Sequoyah had passed away, they remembered their letters. They never let them disappear. Now, who was this Sequoyah? My father asks. He was a famous man, we say, because he invented writing for the Cherokee. He was a brave man because he never gave up. He was a leader because he showed his people how to survive, how to stand tall and proud like these trees. Sequoyah's genius is rare. Only a handful of people in the last 700 years can claim to have invented a writing system. Sequoyah's system was not at all like ours. He did not invent an alphabet of 26 letters. He invented a syllabary of 84 signs, one for each syllable of the Cherokee language. Sequoyah's syllabary is still used today, and Sequoyah is honored as a hero not only of the Cherokee people, but of our nation as well. For his statue stands in the U.S. Capitol building, and his likeness graces the great bronze doors of the Library of Congress. Sequoyah trees were first described in a scientific way by an Austrian man named Stephen Endlicher. When he died, scientists found his description of the tree along with a curious, hard-to-read name. Some thought the name was Sequoyah. Others were not sure. How could a European know about a Cherokee man? It was unlikely except for one thing. Endlicher was known to be interested in languages and writing systems from all over the world. The story of Sequoyah's triumph has been told many times. Not every event in his life can be supported by facts. Often the facts compete with the legends that have arisen about this great man. It is for this reason I have used the phrases, "they tell us" and "they say." To find out more about Sequoyah, read Grant Foreman's Sequoyah and Ruth Holmes and Betty Smith's account in their book, Beginning Cherokee.